The village that appeared only on Halloween. On Halloween night, a traveler named Ethan got lost on a road that didn't exist on any map. His phone had no signal. His GPS showed only a black screen. Then he saw lights in the distance. A village. Old houses stood beneath a pale moon. Orange candles flickered in every window. Strange figures walked silently through the fog. At first, everything looked normal, but nobody spoke. Nobody smiled. Nobody blinked. Ethan entered a small inn. An old woman behind the counter stared at him. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered. Before Ethan could ask why, the lights went out. When they came back, everyone in the room was looking directly at him. Every single person. Their eyes were completely black. Ethan ran outside. The village was different now. The houses were rotting. The streets were covered with bones. And in the center stood a tall creature with long arms and a pumpkin-shaped head. It slowly turned toward him. Then it spoke. "Another one has arrived." The creature pointed toward a cemetery behind the village. There, Ethan saw hundreds of gravestones. Each stone had a date. Every date was Halloween. Every year, for over 300 years. Then Ethan found one final grave. It had no date, only his name. The creature began walking toward him, one slow step at a time. Ethan ran through the fog, hearing footsteps behind him. Closer, closer, closer. Suddenly, he burst out onto the road. The village was gone. The fog vanished. His phone worked again. Shaking, he drove home. The next morning, he searched for the village online. Nothing. No records, no maps, no photos. It was as if it had never existed. Years later, Ethan still tells the story. But every Halloween, at exactly midnight, he receives a single photo on his phone. A photo of that village. And each year, the creature stands a little closer to the camera. This year, it was standing in front of Ethan's house. Ethan thought it was over. For 5 years, nothing happened. No calls, no messages, no strange photos. He almost convinced himself the village had been a nightmare. Then Halloween came again. At exactly 3:17 a.m., his phone vibrated. A new photo. His hand shook as he opened it. The image showed his bedroom. His bedroom. Someone had taken the photo from inside the room while he was sleeping. Ethan jumped out of bed and turned on every light. Nothing. No one was there. But something felt wrong. Very wrong. Then he noticed it. In the photo, there was a dark figure standing in the corner. When he looked at the same corner in real life, it was empty. Suddenly, another message arrived. "We are coming home." The sender had no number, no name, just darkness. The next morning, Ethan drove back to the road where he had first seen the village. There was nothing there except an old, abandoned cemetery. While walking between the graves, he found a broken stone hidden beneath dead leaves. On it were the words, "The gate opens every Halloween." Then he heard footsteps behind him, slow, heavy. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Ethan turned around. Nobody. But fresh footprints were appearing in the dirt, one after another, as if something invisible was walking toward him. Then his phone rang. 3:17 a.m. Even though it was the middle of the afternoon. The screen displayed only one word. Answer. To be continued. Ethan stared at the phone. The call was still ringing. Slowly, he pressed answer. For a few seconds, there was only static. Then a voice whispered, "The gate is open." The call ended. At that exact moment, every light in the cemetery went out. The sky became darker, too dark, as if night had fallen in a single second. Then Ethan saw them, figures emerging from the fog, dozens of them. The silent villagers, the same black eyes, the same pale faces. And behind them stood the Pumpkin Man, taller than before, much taller. Its glowing eyes locked onto Ethan. "You escaped once," it said. "You cannot escape twice." The ground beneath Ethan's feet cracked. A deep hole opened in the earth. Orange light glowed from below. Inside the pit, Ethan saw the village, not abandoned, not dead, alive. Hundreds of people were trapped there, screaming, crying, trying to escape, but none could leave. The Pumpkin Man pointed at him. "Join them." Invisible hands grabbed Ethan's legs, pulled him toward the pit. Closer, closer, closer. Then Ethan remembered the broken gravestone. The gate opens every Halloween. If there was a gate, there had to be a way to close it. Desperately, he searched the cemetery. Suddenly, he saw an ancient iron cross hidden among the graves. Strange symbols covered its surface. The villagers screamed. The Pumpkin Man began running toward him, faster than any human. Ethan grabbed the cross. The symbols started glowing bright white. A terrible scream shook the cemetery. The ground exploded with light. The pit began closing. The villagers disappeared into the darkness. The Pumpkin Man reached Ethan and vanished. Silence. Everything was gone. The cemetery looked normal again. Ethan survived, or so he thought, because when he returned home, a new photo was waiting on his phone. A photo taken only seconds earlier. It showed Ethan standing in the cemetery, and behind him, the Pumpkin Man was smiling.